The prisoner flipped over the metal bed in his cell and began pulling out all the springs from the mattress. Then, he connected and tied them tightly together, creating 4 powerful elastic ropes. He wrapped one end of each rope around the pillar next to the door, and the other ends were fixed to the corners of the iron bed. When all 4 ropes were secured, a giant slingshot was born. The moment a guard opened the door, the mechanism would trigger automatically. But MacGyver's body couldn't hold out much longer. Not long ago, his enemies had injected him with poison. If he didn't find the antidote within 6 hours, he'd die with blood pouring from every orifice. Desperate to lure the guards upstairs as fast as possible, MacGyver glanced at the sink beside him and instantly came up with an idea. He pulled off his $5 belt and attached one end to the faucet, but the other end was still about 2 inches short of reaching the electrical socket. To close the gap, he unscrewed the copper connector from the pipe, cut a small slit in the belt, and slid it through. Then he used the metal buckle to loosen the screws on the outlet, pushing the other end of the belt into the gap. As soon as he turned on the faucet, water began to flow down the belt into the socket. Moments later, water started leaking from the electrical box downstairs, causing a massive short circuit that triggered a violent explosion. Hearing the blast, the enemies immediately rushed upstairs to check. Inside the room, MacGyver gripped the bed frame and waited. The second the guards burst through the door, he released his hands. The bed shot forward like a missile, slamming into the men outside before they even knew what hit them. Taking advantage of the chaos, MacGyver bolted out of the cell, but the poison's effects were kicking in fast. After only a few steps, he collapsed to the ground as his vision began to blur. Fueled by pure survival instinct, he forced himself back up and staggered onward. Just when he was about to give up, a kind-hearted girl spotted him, helped him up, and brought him back to her home. After a brief rest, MacGyver started to recover. But when he looked at the clock, he realized there was only an hour and a half left. Even worse, his enemies had already tracked him down. Thinking quickly, MacGyver placed an old TV on a chair and connected its positive and negative terminals to a car battery. He clipped 2 iron clamps onto the wires, positioning them carefully between the battery and the TV to ensure just the right distance. Then he tested the door to make sure it would trigger the trap when opened. To make sure the killers fell for it, he placed a tape recorder under the chair, letting it play a faint noise. Soon enough, the assassins followed the sound straight to the room. The moment one of them opened the door, the frame hit the chair, forcing the iron clamps together. The circuit shorted instantly, setting off a violent explosion. Hearing the blast, MacGyver grabbed a water pipe in the next room and turned it on, making it sound like he was escaping upstairs. When the killers rushed up, they had no idea he was actually hiding under the bed nearby. But time was running out. With only 1 hour left, MacGyver had to find the antidote before it was too late.